Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table podcast. My name is Paul, Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the Astropub, your space bar at the end of the universe, your professor on the Astro Historian, and your moderator here on the Captain's Table podcast. The Captain's Table podcast is a Star Citizen podcast we've been doing for about 9 years now, where I bring in people from all over the Star Citizen community to talk about the game, the lore, news, and more. And today I've got Axis 0096 and Build and Play, and we're going to be talking about IAE 2955. Originally, we were going to have Space Tomato here, but some scheduling conflicts and misunderstandings between us. He'll be on a later show when we talk about engineering, though, for sure. But we were talking about here that I probably am going to have to do one that's just on ships, because like ships of 2026, because there's a lot of information there. So if you're here to learn about the ships of 2026, that will be. We'll start a little bit of a conversation about that in the next segment in our question and answer segment. But before we get started, let's introduce everyone properly, starting with Mr. Axis0096. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? And where can they find you?
Hello, I am Axis0096. I am your resident Gundam theologist as well as space pilot in the Star Citizen universe. Proud member of the Luna Wolves organization, and I am a miner as well as a explorer primarily.
Nice. So I got to ask
also random part seller of body parts and ship parts.
I got to ask you the question because you're my brother in Stompy Robots. People have asked this in the past. I have my own opinion on it, but would you like to see a Gundam scale like Titan suit in Star Citizen?
Yes.
Just for the cool factor?
Just for the cool factor. I don't think they're going to give it the Unicorn Gundam's reality bending power crap.
Yeah.
That would be fun, but no.
What ring? The ring in the middle? What ring in the middle? I don't see a ring in the middle.
There seems to be a loading
screen right there for some reason.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, we had some technical issues. For whatever reason, if I can find the camera.
Apparently, I'm searching for an update from my cockpit.
There we go.
Glass. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then we've got Mr. Build and Play. Bob, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
Hello, chat. I'm Build and Play, or Bob. I've been playing since about 2020, and I'm mostly interested in passenger transport and in-game events. I'm currently a tour guide and bartender for Qantas Starlines, which is one of the only, if not the only, active touring and passenger transport org out there. You can find me on any social media at buildandplay_, and you can find Qantas at qantas.space, that is QUANTAS.space, or on about every social media you can think of at Qantas Starlines.
And y'all done lore tours in the past, right? Gone through, taking people around and showing, talk about the lores. We still have to get together and do something at some point. We've got to do the equivalent
that would be really fun.
The Astro Historian, an Astro Historian cruise line. I know all these content creators try to do these cruise lines with their fans. It's like, no, we'll just do it in game. So
yeah, we do a bunch of like lore tours that are very similar to the content that you, of course, do in your videos, but then we tell it in game and show some relevant locations if they do exist in the game, because of course for a bunch of lore that is not the case. But
yeah,
for example, the UES Flissa or something, if we talk about the Navy, that kind of stuff.
Nice, yeah.
The crashed Javelin.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's get started with the topics. The big one today is IAE's Post Mortem. So the IAE this year is pretty much over. At this point, as we're recording, they're doing the Best in Show, which is sort of the end of the year. As of right now, I like to point out that they have made 27 million this month, which means that they are 1 million. They're really like 1.5 million behind the amount that they made the biggest month of November, which was 2023. So they have to make at least 2 million to basically surpass in 2023, which they could today and tomorrow. They'll still got some time, and they've been on pace of about 2 million a day. And I think they made something like
wow,
like 2 to 3 million yesterday in like a day. So
Yeah, basically every day has been consistent between the 2 and 3 million over the last few
Yeah.
days, which is mental.
People are saying it already passed 2023, but I on the pledge tracker, which I know is a little lackluster, it says they've only made 26.667 mil. So
Yeah, but it's outdated because
yeah,
on the website live right now, it's on 911, I think. So 911 million. So that would be 28 million, right
yeah,
about,
yeah.
So we're
which is just
close.
insanity.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll know more. We'll probably know by the end of today if they've surpassed it. So,
Probably start a business tomorrow. We'll definitely know.
oh yeah. So let's just start off with the vibes. We did a part one earlier the very beginning of IAE, and we just sort of want to talk a little bit about the vibes and how things were. So I'll start with you on this build and play since you're the last person to introduce yourself. What are your general thoughts, general feels, just overview of IAE this year? And we'll go into some more specifics about the ships and the event later.
Right. I think it was good in general. I do think the patch itself, of course, had some issues. It was pretty crash heavy, especially if you were flying something like the Perseus, because that seemed to be causing quite a bit of crashing on for a lot of players. But in general, I think IE was good. We had a lot of vehicles that seemed pretty sensible, as in no new concepts, no vehicles that just seemed like their gameplay is 10 years away. So in general, I'd say pretty good. On the CCU side, maybe a bit less good, since CIG is obviously phasing CCUs out, and you can definitely notice that the Warbond CCUs that they're doing, the daily ones, are basically repetitions of CCUs we got earlier this year or last year, at best, basically. So for the CCU side of the community, maybe not as great, but on the other side, I think it was a pretty good IAE. With a lot of ship releases, of course.
That's been going around a lot. A lot of people talking about the CCU changes. And for those of you who don't know CCUs, it's a complicated thing. The best way to explain CCUs is it's a gamble. It's a pretty fixed gamble because no matter what, you're going to save money. But how much money you save is the big question. Because effectively, to do good CCUs, to get the crazy amount of discounts you can get, like I know people got like Perseuses for like $100. You have to chain them together. So effectively, you have to get a upgrade from one ship to another. So just say you got like a discounted version of the Salvation, but you have a ship that's like a smaller ship. So like say you got like a referral Dragonfly. You can then cross chassis. You can upgrade your Dragonfly to that Salvation, and there'll be a discount on the Salvation itself because it's slightly less. It has slightly less money. And then you can cross chassis the Salvation to another ship that's maybe close to another CCU, and you can use credit for that. And then you cross chassis that to another ship, and the savings will compound. So if that first one you save $5, the second one you save $10, the third one you saved $20, you've saved $35. So if you chain them well together, you can get huge discounts. But since the last year, they've basically helped the same effective CCUs every single sale.
Yeah, and another thing is that with the Warbonds, the way it works, of course, is that if you upgrade a ship to another ship, the only way to save money is if you upgrade it to the Warbond variant of a ship, because a Warbond upgrade costs less money, but it does mean that you have to put in new money, so no store credit, and that's why you can save money by then chaining those CCUs.
Yeah, you still have to pay extra money, but you eventually, like, you can start off with a ship that's a small ship where you pay money for it, and then you can find ways, if you have credit, you can use some credit there, here and there, but you end up often paying new money like $100, and you end up saving like $200 overall. So
yeah,
but the problem is that if you screw up and you get a CCU for a ship, and then that ship goes on sale, so like if you have another war bond that's from one point to another, you have to you can mess up your chain, so you end up having to like buy that and on top of that, or it can like bypass a chain you already had, which is a bigger deal, and you already spent money on the chain that you did in the first place. That doesn't happen so much anymore because they're kind of bringing it back down. But those were big. It's literally an entire app called the CCU game, which is fun enough run by ex-CIG employees. So the ex-concierge guys ended up founding it. So they also have this whole like selling like gray market aspect stuff. So
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little later.
oh yeah. But yeah, that's an interesting point, is that the CCU is kind of off. But Axis, your thoughts on generally how IAE was this year?
This year had an interesting vibe to it. I mean, in terms of, I'm going to just say, not going over the ships per se, but there were an unusual number of starter ships. Smaller
ships,
compact
yeah,
ships that, under the $200 range. Things like, oh, well, even if we include the PDC truck, that's still under what, $50? 45 new money.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can get an account with it, but
with the Salvation, yeah, you can
buy. Oh yeah, the Vespid version, yeah.
Let me see it real quickly, because currently the pledge store, if you go to the pledge store, you go to the game packages. It is the current discounted packages. You can get the IAE Salvager starter pack, which is $63.75, and it comes with a bonus jacket, a bonus outfit. And you can also get the hauler discount, which comes with an Intrepid, which is $68, which is a huge discount from the $80, and it gets you a bonus package as well, bonus stuff. So
yeah, this is definitely a good opportunity to buy a low-key starter ship. Possibly for AI crew, if you follow that along. For those of us who are older people, but for also family that may be wanting to get in the game, that salvager ship may not just be a salvager. It can be outfitted with tractor beams as a scow, to cargo transport. I mean, it's so small. It's basically the size of a Cyclone, I think.
You could fit it inside a Carrack. It fits.
Yeah,
it's
tiny.
It's close to the size of the Pisces. So
yeah, it's super small. And like I was saying, there's a lot of very small generalist ships this year. The real surprise for me was the Wonky Bird, as Execute used to call
the
it.
Flappy Bird, yeah.
And the inclusion of a fabricator on board at $135. Even though it's not turned on yet, that's going to change things here in probably 2 or 3 patches.
Yeah.
And I can already see chat firing off.
I think the Clipper is definitely one of those things that I think the community in general really latched onto. CIG really latched onto it too, considering.
Yeah. But yeah, back to what I was saying though, to shorten it up, I noticed that the unusual number of starter ships. Let's see, counting the Clipper, which we can count kind of as
a generalist starter. Yeah, it's like an advanced starter. Yeah,
we have the Clipper, the
Salvation.
There was one more.
The Golem.
The Golem,
cargo.
the Golem OX.
The Golem OX, yes.
Yeah, which is also
great.
Yeah, that's definitely a starter salvage or starter.
And if you want
transport.
to count the PDC, that's beginner defense ships.
Kind of. It's a ground vehicle. I wouldn't count it as a starter ship. It's not really professional.
It's still a small vehicle.
Yeah,
it's still small, but it could be a beginner fleet expander, whatever you want to call it. But it's
you're
the
right.
modularity with it is really crazy.
The amount of with all the different PDCs you can put into it.
Yeah, it's just incredible. Oh, and the Wolf Alpha Wolf. That's a nice upgrade from, say, Gladius.
It's not a
but
starter, of course, but it's still a small ship.
Yeah.
Once again,
It's still a small ship, yeah.
Yeah, most of the ships they sold were under $150.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
which is-
150 or lower. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Very approachable IE.
yeah. It's I would agree. I think this is the first IAE that I've seen where the focus was on, like, I would say reasonably priced ships in the context of modern
Except the
gaming.
Perseus.
Well, the Perseus, yeah, it was the only one that wasn't reasonably priced, but
Yeah.
out of the 5 ships we got, vehicles and ships we got, 4 of them were under 150. So,
The whole E2,
um,
but that's more of a larger ship for the price. And even though it's its last run at that price, for what it has become,
yeah,
it's
we'll talk about that
500
in the
yeah.
in the question and answer session. That's going to be its own kind of discussion a little bit.
But
yeah, no, it felt very approachable, and what I mean by like the price is that for the context of modern gaming, you can get a special edition sort of advanced package for a lot of games that can peak out around $150 for some games. So it's not out of the realm of typical normie gamer experience to say I can spend $150 on a game, you know, to
For
get
sure.
into
There's
it.
also very mainstream
Demonize
shooters and
also
stuff.
Demonize also points out this was about onboarding new players. I agree with that. Also, the inclusion of the old paint packages, none of these new players
Had a chance to
got
get
to
it.
see,
Yeah.
and their use on other ships than their original ones.
Yeah. You were going to say, Bob?
Sorry.
I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Good question.
We were talking
Shoot, I've
about
forgotten.
we were talking about normie gamers, and you said something about FPS
Right,
games.
right. In a lot of major or like mainstream FPS games, a few skins or like a bundle of cosmetic skins can quickly cost up to $200. So yeah, I do feel like even in the context of modern gaming, most of the ships this year have been somehow somewhat normally priced.
Yeah.
Especially in a C context, of course. In general gaming industry, especially indie, it's not normal pricing, but still.
Yeah. And outside of indie, it's pretty normal. But it's the point being is that it's
Yeah.
a very. Hold on, futzing around with something. There we go. It's very approachable within the current culture, which is interesting. I will say,
Yeah.
normie gamers, we're still shunning them, right? Right? No, we're teaching them. We're bringing them in and teaching them the ways of Star Citizen.
We're teaching them the ways of our war.
Yeah.
I'm done spending money. I need them to spend it now.
Yeah. My thoughts on IAE were interesting. I think we're in a transition period with IAE. This is it's similar with Invictus this year. The floor, I'm not a fan of the floor. I liked Invictus when they just did it a single floor because it worked, and I do like what they did with how they've dressed up the floor. But I feel like, and I understood why they did it. I feel like though going into next year, I'd love to see the return of the multiple floors, only because I feel like it really gives new players and newer players the context of just the sheer volume of ships which are available in game and the scale. Like it says something when you have something like a Polaris on the floor, and then you right next to it is an Aurora. To see the comparative scales, knowing you can use both of those ships in the same game, sets a lot of people's brains. It kind of rewires people's brains and experiences with like, oh, I get the scale and context of this game now. It's fine with Invictus, in my opinion, just because Invictus is sort of a smaller, more military focused. So not having all of the floors makes sense. And I also know why they didn't do it, because they tried to do that rotation last year with the new back end for server meshing, and it broke instantly. So you only had a single day of those. So
Yeah, I agree. I think during Invictus it was totally fine with the focus. I just wish for IAE they would do something along the lines of like every day with the new manufacturers they open up like a new floor,
Yeah.
and then they even leave the other ones open so that towards the end you just have like 10 floors with a bunch of manufacturers. And of course you can group them together like Misk and other Alien brands, or like Crusader and Tumbril and maybe Greycat. That makes total sense. But I do think it would be a lot better if we would actually see the separate floors.
Yeah, and I know the reason why is probably performance reasons is why they didn't do it. But with them introducing instancing in game next year, that would be a great test for instancing as kind of layered instancing, so you can like spin off a dynamic server so that you don't have to like you can share the load on those. So it's not, you don't have to like have 12 floors of 200 ships all in one area, which would tank the performance. You have 12 different servers, basically, on their own servers. And I know it would be like, oh yeah, that's expensive to do it, but you're also making, what, $28 million? You can afford it. You can afford a little bit of a hit there. You're getting a lot of people to spend stuff. It's part of that advertisement. So. I didn't really think about the price, the costs, which was interesting. That's a way I didn't think about that. So thank you for that, Access.
Oops, sorry, echoing. What's that?
I said thank you for that. Like I didn't even think about like how much entry level they've done this year for IAE.
And if I'm mistaken, maybe we missed one. Someone brought up the Aurora Mark II.
Yes.
You don't know if that's a starter or not.
Oh, it is a starter, but it's not coming out until next year. So.
Yeah, but even announcing that, that's a lot of starter ships. So,
and they even said they're going to do more. They're going to do a starter ship for every manufacturer. They're going to have a profession starter for every manufacturer. Probably have multiple profession starters with every manufacturer because CIG wants to do
we
that.
don't have. We don't have Anvil. We don't have an Anvil starter.
We do. It's the Pisces.
We do, but
it's not really. It's not really a starter. It's a shuttle for the Carrack, but it's used as a starter. They need a dedicated starter.
There probably will be one based on it, something like that, because the chassis for the Pisces is too good not to use. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And
then Aegis consolidated Outland. Technically, it's the Mustang, but
they definitely have a starter with Consolidated Outland, but Aegis doesn't have a starter. And everyone who says the Titan is wrong, the Titan's an advanced starter. They need a $45 to $60 starter, which they don't have.
They need something small.
Yeah, they need something small. We do have a Crusader starter, Shady Phase. Yeah. It's the Intrepid. People don't like it that it's the Crusader starter, but it's the Crusader starter. So
it'd be funny if it's Aegis Bearcat.
Intrepid is also a bit more of an advanced starter, though. It's similar to the Titan, I feel like.
Yeah, it's up there.
For Paul's funny bone.
Oh yeah, the Bearcat. I love the Bearcat, but I don't think it's a starter. That's more of a Hawk competitor. But that's again an example of like how there's a lot of the lower tier cost ships that they still have plenty of space for. I forgot. I got to turn on the questions.
Misk starter? Is there even a Misk one? The whole A kind of counts as an advanced one.
Yeah, there really isn't a Misk starter. I don't think.
I don't think so either.
There's no such thing as an Asperia starter. I'll tell you that.
That would be cool. I'd love to see a Talon or like a starter from like Tavaran starter.
That would be pretty cool. I mean,
or
Misk,
even a Van Duel one. That would be weird.
What are you gonna say?
Oh, yeah, Misk is like Prospector Reliant, I guess, technically, sort of.
Kind of. The Prospector's an advanced.
Yeah, a lot of people were mentioning.
Oh yeah, the Reliant, but the Reliant's also considered an advanced starter.
Yeah, nobody uses it because it sucks. It's horrible.
Yeah.
There's no way the Blade's considered a starter. It's too big.
Yeah, it's like a Gladius, effectively.
You need something smaller. Argo technically is the flying boxes with veneers.
The Argo MPUV.
Yeah. Yes. That doesn't have a quantum drive though.
No, Argo also doesn't have a starter.
No. All right. So get that started. All
Sorry,
right.
we got on that tangent.
No, this is all talking about like kind of how IAE is very much a symbol. I think it's very much a direction of the years to come. It's much more focused on filling out the rosters down below for a 1.0 release, which I think is an interesting perspective. That this IAE, like I said, it's a transition. I think it's a transition towards what IAEs are going to be in 2027 and beyond. Because I still think that CIG is shooting for a 2027 release for 1.0, which means, we're going to do this.
I can't believe that for a second.
But I mean, I think that's their internal logic. But we also know that CIG had lots of internal logic ideas, and every year they have plans, and those plans are about as good as the paper they're written on, which is none at all.
Yeah.
But you can't just kind of fly by this in your pants. You have to have some idea, and so their plans are 2027, which just means that if their plans are 2027, then 2026 is just going to be them every patch dropping a new feature, which is going to cause fires all over the place, literally and metaphorically,
including the swamp planet.
Yeah. But yeah, let's move on to the ships themselves. We kind of talked a little bit about this. Axe has already started to talk a little about the ships. Is there any ship that stood out to you most, like your favorite ship from these sales?
I mean, I of course have to mention the Perseus. The Perseus was, I
Okay.
don't have it myself or anything, but it is, of course, it was extremely hyped. It is, I still think, the day they sold the Perseus in 2020 is still like one of the most profitable days, like top 5 that CIG has ever had.
In the CCU game, they have a specific spike, which is just for the Perseus.
Yeah, because it's just, the Perseus is, of course, it's one of the coolest looking ships. So I do think that has to be like my favorite this year. I do also think that the Alpha or the second Wolf is pretty cool. Although it does just, I mean, it's just a variant, but still, I actually prefer it over the original one, I think.
I like it because it looks closer to the N1 in design.
Yeah.
It's got more of the Naboo aesthetic, more of the smooth lines. And the new paint looks just like the Naboo, like something Naboo would put out. The yellow and chrome. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's in reverse, purposely.
Yeah, because they don't want to get sued.
Exactly.
Access any ships, other ships that stood out for you?
The Clipper, definitely for future proofing. Also the Salvation, because it's multi-purpose. Not only can you salvage with it, you can also use it as a tractor scow. And Victura, my friend who's in chat, he's hoping for a racing variant. That it's so small and compact, and the cockpit's got a good view. If they made it a racing version, it would be easily one of the smallest racing ships in the game.
Salvation?
It could make, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Think about it.
It's very tiny. Yeah.
It would corner really quick.
My favorite ship, other than the Perseus, is probably the MDC, only because a million A2 owners cried out at once and were silenced. Because like it is the Nerf bat of all Nerf bats. It's like the joke that people have been saying, like, bases don't matter because you can just A2 strafe bomb and there's no counter to it. And CIG's just said, hold my beer, and made a ship that's like hard counter to bombers. And
spoiler alert, it doesn't work anymore, boys.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like it's a hard counter and it costs $50, which means in game it's going to cost next to nothing. As a result, it sort of shows that CIG is moving in that direction of 1.0, of thinking about, okay, we have to think about gameplay in a released version. How can we close some of these loops that people have been using? They nerfed the PDCs extensively this patch as well, because they wanted to make sure that PDCs weren't just this I win button when it came to torpedoes. So now, like, laser PDCs work really good against missiles, but the ballistics work better against torpedoes, and then the pepper box works best against other ships. So they kind of have their own roles, and you have to sort of mix and match if you want to make them to work. So
I do also like how it just the implication of, for example, the A1. I hope that at some point they make it a little bit more of a carpet bomber, so that you, for example, get these situations where you want to bomb some place and then have to choose, like, am I gonna risk with the big A2 and only be able to like throw 2 bombs in a short time span, and then they're probably gonna get taken out by those PDCs, or do we run like a few A1s to, throw a lot more bombs that are just significantly smaller explosions to hope that a few get through the PDC screen. Those kinds of decisions, I think, are going to be pretty fun.
someone's saying it's a can't shoot bombs. If it's not shooting bombs, it's a bug. I think they said it was if it's not shooting bombs, because it's designed to shoot bombs. It definitely shoots missiles and torpedoes. I've tested that. It does both.
Ooh, this could be fun.
But yeah. Well, the biggest thing for me, this was the ship talk, which we'll talk about in the question and answer session. We'll start off with that one because I gotta do that one. So, let's see. Let's go move on. We talked about general feelings. Let's talk about IAE. Let's talk about Best in Show, the Best in Show skins, because we'll talk a little bit about the Best in Show sale, because I think that's a point of controversy. Bob, what's your thoughts on like both the Best in Show skins this year and also the ability that CIG's given so that you can buy any of the Best in Show skins from the start of Best in Show?
Well, I really don't mind. I myself don't really dabble in any gray market stuff. Of course, people in gray market are probably or people who bought skins from the gray market before may be a little pissed about it.
Yeah.
Because of course, the entire profit margin for those skins from the years before is now gone. Maybe you can still sell them for near the same price or the same price, but that is, of course, a little unfortunate for them. But I think it's a good thing. Once again, I think it's nearly a sort of unfair, you could nearly say, to players from recent years, and the player base has expanded rapidly over the last few years and also changed, because I think a lot of veterans have left with newer, arguably slightly more arcadey directions, at least up till engineering. So I think there's been a lot of new players, and I think it is a good thing, in my opinion, that CIG then sells these paints again. It would have just been nice if they, make it clear when they sell a paint, like, hey, is this something that we sell one time, like one time only, or is this something that we plan to, or keep the possibility open for, that we will sell it again in the future, even if it's the far future?
Yeah, I think the CIG generally probably will never. They've said that in the past. I think the general rule is, if CIG says we super promise, quadruple, double dare promise, we'll never come back on the fact that we'll only sell this once, you can tell they're lying, because there's going to always sell them again. They've always done that. Like, anytime CIG
if
says
it earns
something,
more money, they will.
Yeah. Like the fact they said they'll never sell the bangle, they'll sell the bangle. Eventually. Yeah. So,
I think so too. Yeah.
They won't sell the retribution, but they'll sell the bingo.
It may sell the retribution. Like, it really depends on what's going on, but like
it depends on if the retribution even gets into the game in a playable state, because of the incredible size of that thing and its interior.
That thing is 3 kilometers long, guys. Come on.
CIG is stupid enough to sell a battle cruiser. They'll sell the retribution if they can get away with it. So,
oh my god.
Sure, but the battle cruiser might be kind of, well, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Someone's bringing up Raven, but the thing about the problem about the Raven is that the Raven has an exclusivity contract with Intel. They would sell it if it didn't ruin their relationship with Intel.
Yep.
Lawsuit.
Yeah, same with Omega. The Omega is the messed up thing about the Omega is that Team Red knows they have an exclusive ship, and they still have like a huge amount of them that CIG gave them copies for, and they still haven't actively used it at all for their advantage. Like, because they could start giving them back again with sales of their chipsets, especially their older chipsets, if they wanted to add a nice little spark, especially around sales events or Squadron 42. But like Intel, on the other hand, they don't even know. They didn't even know that they have this thing in the back pocket because no one's really told them, their marketing team, about it. So, let's see. Axis, your thoughts on the new skins? Or I didn't ask Bob. Do you like the new skins? The skins that came out for this year?
Let me take a look at them again real quick.
Sure.
The best in show paints skins
Yeah.
for this year. Well, I don't know. I'm not much of a skin or
Person?
like cosmetic person, I guess. So
All right.
yeah, no special opinions about it, to be honest. In my opinion, like I don't know.
Axis, same question to you. How do you like the new skins, and how
I
do
thought they
you?
were kind of going to be an orange color. They're more of a rust red, which I actually like, with the black and kind of a brown trim. Kind of looks like something that survived a battle, maybe caustic damage.
I like to call it. I like to call it bronze.
Bronze, yeah,
kind
like
of
a bronze,
or like a copper. I haven't said this yet, so I could get to speak this here. I'm gonna call them the Aya Nasir skins for my Aya Nasir. It's a history meme, history joke.
Might have to look that up.
Yeah, look it up if you haven't. It's EA-NASIR, I think is how you spell his name. So yeah, if you got quality copper, get the best in show skin. But what's your thoughts on them selling the best in show skins from the past?
Okay, I can understand the anger of the older players. However, for new players coming in who might be incentivized to get some of the ships that they're attached to, new wallet, new money, keeping the project alive, I can understand them wanting to buy the paint packages. And I might also point out something. The old paints, like the Cutter and I want to say the Valkyrie, whichever ones they were, they're locked to that particular paint, that skin, right? And they're no longer locked in this version. So they're technically not the same skins. They're a version of them, but they're not the original, the Liberator. There it is. They're not technically the same paint job that was there. They look the same, but underneath they're different. Oops, where'd you go?
Because you can apply it to different variations, or
Can't hear you, Paul.
you might be muted, Paul.
I muted myself because I was typing stuff in. But no, it's because you can apply them to different variations of the thing. Because like in 2949 and 2950 IAEs, you had you got a ship. So like if you had the Cutlass for 2949, you were given a new Cutlass that was just the 2949 best in show Cutlass.
Yeah.
So you're given a brand new ship, like a variant of the ship, and the skin wasn't transferable. Now, yeah, you're right. I think now both of those skins are now transferable to any other Cutlass. So I think they probably took away the ships from the people who had them before and gave them the skins instead. So I think it's a good one.
I wonder if anyone in chat can confirm for us.
I'd have to double check to see it myself, but
if you can apply them to variant.
Oh, they gave you a CCU, not a ship. That's it. Yeah. I
okay. But it was not a skin. Like you couldn't transfer that skin to another ship.
Oh right, so you had to apply the CCU to your ship, and then it would come with the paint.
Yes.
Right.
And then when they did the new paint system in like 2021 is when they the best in show paints in 2021 going forward, they were skins, because that was the year that our Orange King, long may he reign, became the best ship in the game forever and for always.
Of the Orange King.
all hail the Argo Cargo, our short king. All right, our short king of all of the realm.
And it broke Jared so badly. But he deserved it.
All I'm going to say for that one, for those who weren't there, people still blame me for it. It wasn't my idea. It was other members of the community's idea that I just adopted and then pushed really hard, and then everyone else thought it was funny. But the fact that it won has made me so happy that this community exists, because I feel so. I feel like I was running a campaign for president, and my candidate won, and I feel super proud of doing that. Red Lear was the one who came up with it. He tried to get it into Best in Show in 2950 in 2020, but they said no, and so I said that's fucked up. Let's do it for 2021, and we were able to do it.
Was it the Argo?
The Argo Cargo.
Yeah, the Argo Cargo. That was funny.
And it's up to CIG was the one who decided they were trying to knock it out by putting it against the Carrack, and it got bodied by the MPUV. And I'm now looking back at the time, they were like, well, the Carrack doesn't have the skin, and it's like it had a skin the year before, like it won the year before, so like it already had a skin. So that makes me even more angry about them. And then it got a skin in 2952, like it won the year after too. I think the only year it didn't win since then has been last year and this year.
Best in Show
also in 2023, yeah. Best in Show skin, yeah. But it won the year it came out, and so on and so forth. So, what happened to Best in Show armor? We'll talk about that later. You know, yeah. I think that's all we really want to talk about. Let's talk about the future of IAE. What would you like to see changed in IAE going forward? So, like in the future years, like IAE 2956 or 2026. What would you like to see that's different from this year? Starting with you, Axis.
Well, long term, and I don't know if it'll happen this year or not, or this next year, but remember, IAE that we have right now is a satellite function.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the primary celebration. A lot of people in the verse forget this, Paul.
Yeah.
Mr. Lord of Lore knows this himself.
Yeah, Kiel is where it's supposed to go. It's where its actual headquarters is.
Which planet is it on again?
I can't remember which planet, but it's in the Kiel system, which is connected to Terra. So it is one jump away from Terra. So it may not be next year, but who knows?
I think when we get Castra,
you think it'll go there?
Which is probably after Nyx, sooner or later. I'd say within the next 18 months, we could say comfortably, with our preliminary schedule, there may be a shift to move IAE to Sherman.
I could see that. I mean, that would be bold. I don't think CIG is going to be able. Well, they did the same thing this year, where they released Nyx and IAE at the same time. So
I feel like they might. Invictus will move there, probably. I mean, that's quite likely, of course, with the.
Yeah, looking at
but
it.
But IAE, they might just stay in Stanton with it. I'm not sure, but.
I take it back. Yeah, IAE makes more sense, build and play, because it's a military port.
You're talking about Invictus. Originally. Yeah.
And it makes more sense for military ships to be shown there instead of just a grab all.
Yeah.
Well, the Sherman itself is an entire military museum, basically, about the Perry Line and such. The Cold War with the alien species, the Xi'an. So I do feel like that would be a very sensible place for Invictus.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Any changes you'd like to see, Bob?
Any changes? Well, of course, the floors, as we mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
In general, I wouldn't mind if the entire event was like 2 full weeks, or maybe even longer, because I feel like, especially with, but maybe that just depends on how much time people have. I feel like that would just be better. Also, I wish the CCU stuff would. I mean, CIG. I wish they would just sort of make a decision on how to end it.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it feels very forced how they're doing the daily Warbond CCUs. So if you're doing CCUs, you literally have to check for those daily CCUs every single day, and then make decisions like, hey, am I going to risk this because maybe I get a better CCU tomorrow? And it feels bad in my opinion. So I hope that they find a smooth and proper end for the entire CCU game thing. Of course, I'd prefer if it continued, but it's pretty clear that CIG doesn't want us to save money. So Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I would hope that they would make that better, and also I hope that that we get. I guess that we get larger ships or more also ship reworks with IAE. Like I wouldn't mind just as one of the IAE ships a rework of the 600 or a proper update to a bunch of old ships because there are so many ships in the game that, especially with engineering now coming up,
Yeah.
there's so many that genuinely feel really outdated. And even if they rework them to put the components in and make it functional, they're still going to be pretty horrible to play in because of the weird positions of set components.
Just top of my head, I can say the Constellation series, the Freelancer,
Yep.
and even like the Cutlass and all of the new and old Hornets still don't have placements for their
Components, yeah.
for the
The
components.
MSR.
The MSR, even though it has components, it's super old and it's just like its gameplay is out of loop. Same, like Freelancer has components too, but it's super old. There's a lot of older vessels that need updating.
Cutlass
Yeah, there's a
Black.
lot of those that get used a lot by players, especially like the Constellation. Freelancer maybe a little bit less, but still, like that's still a lot of people do use the Freelancer. So I hope that they just focus some work on that, and I wouldn't mind if some of the sort of releases are literal just updates or Mark IIs or reworks of older ships.
Yeah,
Freelancer needs a door just to separate it from the vacuum. Where you're sleeping.
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
Open that door.
You open that airlock, you're vacuuming yourself. You know.
You're just dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the components don't fit through also with
Yeah.
one of the
Starfarer,
freelancers through
somebody
those doors.
mentioned too.
Starfarer is another one of those.
That thing is a nightmare inside.
Yeah, that one is horrific.
This is something I said with the Invictus, but I still think it also would work with IAE. I would love for there to be a reason to go to the floor beyond just having ships. Ships are nice, and I'd love to have the return return for
the renting.
What?
The renting, I guess, the renting of ships.
Yeah, but even beyond the renting of ships, like there should be some sort of like for Invictus, for instance, like a place where you can go play where you can go play like Nerf guns with each other, like the Marine experience, and you just go around and shoot each other with Nerf guns, for a couple of minutes, or
like a target practice thing.
Like a target practice, or like some like sim pods where you can play Arena Commander from the floor for like a little bit for each of the ships, so you can test the experience out or whatever, or like. Because right now you can go there to get like exclusive like shirts and that kind of thing, and they've experimented with the idea of doing exclusive armors in the past. I'd love for them to do other things that are just sort of in-game events that you can do, little mini games and sort of thing. Because that's kind of what if you ever go to a convention, that's kind of what they do all the time. They have these little booths to try to get you engaged with it. So
a WoW blast rifle.
Yeah,
I could see that with a target practice thing, like low score, like you get maybe 50 UEC.
Yeah.
Like the high score, you might get a Vanduul mask.
Yeah, I can see something like that. Having those kind
real
of
high score.
WoW Blast Boom Tube sounds absolutely incredible.
Oh,
people would pay for mini games. I mean, look at every other RPG. Come on.
There's also more things they could do for the setup, like the lead up to it. You could, because they did this in the past where they had like you could send in the missions for you to bring over AV equipment and other things to the event. They've experimented with this stuff in the past. I just wanted to bring that all together into one event. And once they've done that, they can reuse a lot of that stuff, and it'll still be kind of fun to do. So
I mean, that maybe CG just feels like that is too much effort for how much they earn, which sounds ridiculous, but I do think that is part of it. And also, I feel like
a gun show would be hilarious. Somebody mentioned that on your YouTube side. That's funny.
What were you saying?
No,
Bob.
Oh, sorry.
I have once again forgotten. I seem to have gotten amnesia today. That is.
It's fine. Insane. You lost train of thought. We're talking about how much work it would be to
to do. Right. Yeah, I do feel like it would be a lot of work, and also I feel like with how IE right now already works, I feel like a lot of people go there to then rent the ships and then just want to use the ships and do missions and stuff with friends with, for example, the sort of free purchase they have. So I also feel like CIG just doesn't really feel like it's worth because of I doubt that anyone outside of, the sort of role play and more lore side of the community would really stay there for that long unless you get really, really good rewards, like specific ship paints, for example.
Yeah, no, I think that would be cool as well. Yeah, if you did like little mini events there where you can get specific ship paints or uniforms or something like that, or clothing or armor, something like that.
Tour guide would be great as well. Someone mentioned.
Please replace me, CIG. Replace me with somebody with an NPC. I am okay with that.
Give this guy a week of free time around Thanksgiving.
Let's see. I think that's about it. We're gonna move on because if you're watching this, be prepared. We're gonna spend probably 30 minutes just talking about the ship discussion that they did in the next segment, to the point where it might actually be 2 episodes and then the question and answers. So we're going to try to do that because we're probably gonna have a lot to talk about. Well, no, we'll see, because at some point I'm going to sit down with the other, like the Inforunner folks and stuff like that, and Graham, and talk about the ships of 2026 and really kind of talk about that. But all right. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Axis. Check out Axis0096 on basically everywhere on the YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Kick, Twitter, everywhere. And of course, check out, is it Qantas Star Liners?
Qantas Starlines.
Qantas Starlines, if you want to go do cool in-fiction, in-lore events, or lore tours, or other sorts of cool
in-game events,
in-game events. And if you did enjoy this, join us live, twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/@the-Captain's-Table-Podcast. We do these on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Would love to have you come and join us live here, like here with chat over here. And we're going to be going into the question and answer session. So if you're here live, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. If you're listening on the podcast version, because you can listen to this early on the podcast version, it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places where there are podcasts, the Captain's Table. It usually is released within 24 hours of this going live. So you have full access to the whole episode, beginning to end. And I break it up for YouTube because YouTube's algorithm works a little bit better if you don't have a 4-hour video posted. So thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.